you told me a few years ago I'd be teammates with 3 NBA champions and end up playing against my favorite player of all time, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But here I am living out my dreams that I imagined as a kid. Going from Division III basketball to professional overseas player has been an incredible experience so far. And in this video, I'll take you inside what it's really like to share the court with some of the biggest names in basketball. It's honestly crazy to say that I was teammates with NBA guys, but to be teammates with well-known NBA players like Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins and Quinn Cook is even crazier to say. Growing up in LA, I grew up a Lakers fan, and it made it that much crazier to be teammates with them because those 3 won a championship in 2020 in the bubble for the Lakers. So, them being former Laker players, it just made it an even crazier experience. If you see my first video, I talk about how I ended up on that team and my journey going through the Asian tournament and being on the Mustangs. If you haven't watched it, then I'll explain it in this video. I joined the Mustangs on April 1st. The Mustangs were a part of this league called the Asian tournament where teams from different countries, they travel all over Asia and just play different tournaments, and teams from the Philippines, Hong Kong, China, from all over the place were coming to play in the Asian tournament. So I played in 3 different legs. I played 1 in China, 1 in the Philippines, and 1 in Taiwan. And the Taiwan leg that we had was when I got to play with those 3 NBA guys. About a month before that leg started, we found out that Dwight Howard was actually becoming an owner of the TAT, or part owner of the TAT. Made an announcement that he was going to join the Mustangs, so I was super excited to be able to play with Dwight Howard. And then it got closer and closer to the Taiwan leg, and then he made an announcement that he was recruiting 2 other NBA players, 2 former teammates of his, to join the Mustangs. So I was going down the list, I was thinking of different players that he was going to recruit, and I was is LeBron going to join our team and stuff like that? But obviously not. But yeah, so we found out it was going to be DeMarcus Cousins and Quinn Cook. Pretty nervous, honestly. I just didn't know how the interaction was going to be and how they were as guys off the court and on the court, stuff like that. But it ended up being a super, super cool experience, and I can say that those 3 guys, even with the status that they have, they're all super down-to-earth guys off the court and, super great people. Yeah, but we finally step on the floor with them, and we have our first shoot-around before the game start, and my first reaction is that NBA players, they literally do not miss. So we were just doing 5-spot shooting, which is just 5 spots around the 3-point line, and I was rebounding for Quinn Cook, and every single ball just landed right under the hoop, and I think maybe he missed 3 or 4 times in the 45 minutes that we were shooting. And the same thing with Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins. You don't expect players that tall who play center and power forward in the NBA to be able to shoot that well, but it honestly just made me think that there's so many levels to basketball, and even though I'm playing professional basketball, there's even levels to professional basketball. I got to talk with Dwight Howard about his experience playing in Taiwan, and that was super cool to hear, his story. And I was just asking him questions like, would you ever come back and play in Taiwan, or, what's next for his basketball career? And it was just super cool to talk to him just one-on-one, and something I've never thought I'd be able to do. To be in the presence of NBA players is something that very little people get to do, and to be able to share the floor and actually be teammates with 3 of them, and for them to be former Lakers, which was even more special to me, was incredible. So that's an experience I'll be able to tell so many people down the road, and yeah, that was definitely one of the best moments of my basketball career so far. So after the tournament, I signed with the Tainan Ghost Talks, which is a team in Taiwan. And if you didn't know, Jeremy Lin also plays for a team here in Taiwan. He plays for the New Taipei Kings, which is in a separate league from us. But oftentimes, teams in Taiwan, they'll get to scrimmage each other regardless of which league they're in. So my team recently, we got to scrimmage against the New Taipei Kings. And growing up, Jeremy Lin was my favorite player of all time because of Linsanity, and he was also a former Laker, and he got to play with Kobe, who's also one of my favorite players of all time. And he was my favorite player growing up because as an Asian basketball player, I definitely looked up to him, and he's definitely the reason why I'm playing in Taiwan today. As a kid, he came out with this Linsanity documentary, and my family and took a couple of my friends, we went to go watch the opening for the Linsanity documentary, and I think I've watched it like 20 times since then, but it's just super inspiring to see like where he came from and how he made it to the NBA, to the highest level of basketball there is, and he had a great career in the NBA. So when I heard that we were scrimmaging the Kings, I was super excited. I was hoping he was going to get to play, and luckily he did. I would say playing against Jeremy Lin was probably a more surreal feeling for me personally than getting to play with Dwight Howard, DeMarcus Cousins, and Quinn Cook, just because I have such a personal, I guess, admiration for Jeremy Lin and his career and what he's done for the game, and never thought I'd be able to meet him, let alone get to play against him, and for him to be my favorite player it's pretty surreal. So when I checked into the scrimmage, I made it a point to guard him right away. I even wear number 7 because of him, and after the game he told me, he was like, hey, you got a nice number, which was pretty cool for him to say. And another big reason why Jeremy's my favorite player is because of his faith, and he just sets such a great example for younger players and athletes like me who are also Christian and want to share their faith, and does it without shame, and he's super open about sharing his testimony, and that's just something that I really admire about him, and also something that I want to continue to do as I play professional basketball. Playing against Jeremy, that was definitely my biggest moment for me in my basketball career so far. Since graduating from Pacific University at the Division III level, I never would have thought I'd be sharing the floor with 4 different NBA players, and for me to be able to do that, I just think that it's a cool story for me to share, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys tune in for more content coming soon.